The little lowland leopard frog is facing some sizable challenges in its historic range. It has already disappeared from large sections of California, New Mexico, and Arizona, where it used to live in habitats such as rivers, small streams, and ponds. The remaining populations face various threats. Many of their habitats have dried up due to water use by humans. Their water gets dirty from runoff after major fires, or they are killed by a deadly fungal skin disease that affects amphibians. In many ways, the frog is emblematic of the larger environmental issues in our region.
It may just be a frog, but that frog's still important, and it's going to affect other things that you might not be aware of. Not only are the frogs suffering, but when they're suffering, the whole ecosystem is suffering.
Emily Huddleston moved to Tucson from the Phoenix metropolitan area to study journalism at the University of Arizona.
So we talked last time about bacon.
She was intrigued by the local habitats and conservation community in Pima County, and soon she decided to add environmental studies to her courses.
There's just so much to do, and drive 10 minutes and you're in the middle of nowhere, and I really think that's kind of what sparked my interest.
While working as an intern for Saguaro National Park, she heard about a cooperative effort in the historic Notch neighborhood to help the lowland leopard frog.
So I've written about this in a report that I'm working on for Saguaro National Park that will come out soon. I'm not exactly sure. And I also wrote a more extended article for my science journalism class here at U of A.
In the Notch neighborhood just west of the park, Huddleston discovered residents such as Karen Reifschneider are caring for artificial ponds that can serve as a little refuge for the frog, a backup population in case of an emergency. The ponds augment the nearby natural tinajas, small bodies of water that form in our region's mountainous bedrock. However, the tinaja's future, and that of the frogs, is uncertain.
We talked about what might happen if something happened to those tinajas. If a dramatic fire, an extended drought, those tinajas went dry, they would probably all die. The species would die out because they need water, they need to be wet. They aren't like toads where they can go under the ground. They need to be wet all the time.
So far, Reifschneider, scientists, and other concerned residents have built a total of 7 ponds in the community. Things were falling into place, and then a surprise. In this rough, dry desert most of the year, a tough introduced competitor searches for water.
I did not expect to get traveling bullfrogs because there's no water course for at least 1.5 miles from here.
The American bullfrog is a powerful eating machine. It consumes many other critters, including the lowland leopard frog, which is easy prey for the ravenous invader.
My first bullfrog appeared in my pond 2 years after we established it on a day in June, which was at the end of a week of 100+ days, and it was 106 degrees out here that day. He managed to take a hike and hike to my pond.
So Reifschneider built barriers to keep the bullfrogs out, and those efforts are being replicated elsewhere. This pond is located at the Desert Research Learning Center, which is next to Saguaro National Park. Bullfrogs can climb fences, so a smooth top is necessary to counter their acrobatic abilities.
We're getting temperature, pH.
This allows scientists to promote their research and conservation in a man-made tinaja setting without the aggressive invasive. The water is a big hit for local birds. They can fly in and out, and there's hope this mini ecosystem will also help the little lowland leopard frog.
Like most amphibians, they're very sensitive to air pollution, water pollution, environmental change. And for the National Park Service, this is what we do. Our job is to protect these native species.
And raising awareness is part of that formula.
I think the science journalism class was a really great experience because it was perfect. It combined my love for the environment with writing, which is something I'm striving to currently do.
You know, we really need to kind of help us communicate the science. You know, a lot of this stuff is sort of really interesting to a scientist or someone like me, but maybe doesn't translate well to the average person. And so Emily's helping us kind of do that.